Hello and welcome to Connecting Is Not Enough, the networking radio show. I'm Andy Lopata and I'd love to wish you a happy new year. Hope you've had a relaxing break, although it probably seems like a long time ago now. And I wish you all the best for 2013. I've detected a lot of optimism among people coming back after the holidays, and I hope that you share similar positive feelings. To kickstart your year, what we have in the latest edition of the Networking Radio Show is a look at some networking resolutions for the new year. A couple of events that could help kickstart your actions for 2013. We've got a look at time management, both in terms of how you spend your time networking and also in making sure that you don't burn yourself out and that you get the results that you want. I interviewed my good friend and the co-author of And Death Came Third, Peter Roper, about how his life and his business took a big turn after the publication of And Death Came Third, and also the importance, based on his experiences, of managing your reputation effectively, both online and off. We have some music from Southgate and Leigh, and we finish off back on the theme of New Year's resolutions with perhaps the one resolution above any others that you really should be looking to follow over the new year. My good friend Michael Arndt, who runs the business network Arndt's FC in Sweden, asked me earlier this week for 3 top tips for networking in 2013 to share with members of his network. My suggestions were: number 1, have a clear idea of what you want to achieve from your networking this year and how other people can help you. Review your goals and progress over the last year or two. Have an answer ready for whenever someone asks you, how can I help? And you know that they mean it. And make sure that the answer you give is one that counts. Secondly, know your network better. Build deeper relationships with people with whom you have the closest rapport or the most in common. Find out how you can help them and to whom you can connect them. A greater understanding of their network and their business will also help you with tip number 1. And thirdly and finally, follow up. Keep your promises, make key connections, and follow up with both parties to monitor progress. Keep in touch with people you've met and clicked with, and make every follow-up wherever possible about the other person rather than about you. I'd like to hear from you. What are your top tips for the new year? What have you changed in your networking recently that has worked for you? Please do email me, andy@lopata.co.uk, tweet me or send me a message on Facebook and let me know what networking tips you'd like me to share with other listeners. There are 2 events coming up which I think may be of interest to you. First of all, I'll be running a short workshop next Thursday afternoon, that's the 17th of January, on building a speaking business through referrals at the Thames Valley Professional Speaking Association meeting in Reading. Jeremy Nicholas, who's a BBC broadcaster of many years' experience and also the man who announces all of the opposition goal scorers at West Ham United games, will also be speaking on making your presentations more entertaining. If you want to find out more information, it's on my Facebook page, I've tweeted it, or just Google Professional Speaking Association Thames Valley or look them up on the Eventbrite website. If you're looking for some inspiration to kickstart your year, my former mastermind colleague Richard McCann is hosting an event next month that could be ideal for you. Richard is one of the UK's most successful and popular motivational speakers and authors. He's been a global best-selling author with his first book, Just a Boy, reaching number 1 on the Sunday Times bestseller list. His journey has been remarkable, against all the odds, and his message is simple: if I can, then so can you. As well as hosting the event, Richard will be one of 5 speakers with different stories, but one common goal: to empower each member of the audience to grow and transform where they could end up in 2013. Among the other speakers is another good friend of mine, Kevin McClernand, who won the television series Britain's Biggest Loser when he shed 40% of his body weight in 24 weeks. You can read more about the event on Richard's website, richardmccann.co.uk. The event takes place on the 23rd of February, close to Leeds. I'd like to offer my congratulations to Olivia Woods, Jackie Page, Horla Nez and Jonathan Fingerhut, who all won a copy of Hit Me, How to Get Your Small Business to Punch Its Weight Online, the new book from Fresh Business Thinking. I hope you enjoy the show today. If you do enjoy it, please do also check out my e-zine version on my website, lopata.co.uk, and of course, tell all your friends and all of your network. Once people discover networking, very often they throw themselves into it as the solution to all of their problems. It's tempting to go to networking events morning, noon and night throughout the week. The danger is that you lose sight of what's important and fail to pay attention either to following up or to your business or job. And that will generate you a reputation for being unreliable, not a reputation that's easy to shake. Know how much time you can commit to networking without burning yourself out or letting your business suffer. Don't forget to factor in the time spent following up. Then prioritise the most important actions. Networking may seem time consuming at first, but if you approach it in the right way, your network can potentially save you a great deal of time and money in the long run. Understand what you want to achieve from your networks and ask yourself how much time would be invested if you try to reach the same objectives by another route. Not only can your business suffer from too much networking, but a catch-all approach can lead to very little return. A more focused approach is certainly more effective, as one business owner I coached discovered.
In Recommended, I share the story of David Bohm. David came to me for a coaching session on his networking strategy. And I knew that he networked a lot, so I asked him how much. And he told me he was going to 5 breakfast meetings a week, 2 lunch meetings, and even the occasional evening session. I said, how's that working for you? He said, it's great. But I dug deeper. And when I dug deeper, I found he wasn't getting referrals from his networking. He wasn't getting business from it. In fact, he employed a cold calling team on the side and was looking to recruit more people because he wasn't getting enough business through. So I made a simple suggestion to David. I said, if you're happy to go to 5 breakfast meetings next week, drop 2 or 3 of the formal groups and just call people you've met a few times and just go to meet with them. Spend more time with them, build the relationship and get to know them. Because at the moment, all you're doing is saying hello to people on a regular basis, but not having any more in-depth conversations. A few weeks later, David contacted me and he said the new approach was already working. Instead of going to networking groups every day, he was meeting and having more in-depth meetings with people in his network. And as a result, he'd already had the opportunity to present alongside someone from the Bank of England and had a workshop booked, which were ideal for his business. There comes a time in your relationship with people where they're ready to refer you. They have the trust in you, they like you, and they understand what you do. And yet so many people spend their time, like David, trying to build a bigger and bigger network. First, you should look at the network you already have. How many people know you, like you, and trust you, and would be happy to refer you, but you never ask because you're too busy networking?
I recently interviewed Peter Roper, who co-authored And Death Came Third with me back in 2006. Peter's been on quite a journey since our book, having lost and rebuilt his business. He's shared his story in Running on Empty since, and is now on the verge of publishing a new book on managing your reputation, together with Leslie Morrissey, who edited both And Death Came Third and Recommended. I asked Peter to share some of the key lessons from his journey with us and to offer his top tips on managing your reputation. So I've got the pleasure of being with my good old friend Peter Roper today. Many of you will know Peter. Peter co-authored And Death Came Third with me, originally back in 2006, and the second edition came out last year, and we've been delighted with the success and the feedback we've had from the book. And Peter and I worked on a number of other projects as well since. But Peter's journey has been very interesting since we brought Death Came Third out. So I just wanted to grab Peter for a couple of minutes and get him to share with us what's happened since Death Came Third, and particularly what he's learned from the experience. So Peter, tell us a little bit more about what's happened over the last few years.
Well, what happened over the last few years, we became bestsellers in 12 hours, which was fab on April 5th, 2006, and then about a year later, through a combination of stupidity, naivety, bad luck, I lost the lot and had to start again. So I had a challenging time through 2007. My family looked at me and said, "Dad, you're a speaker. You go be a speaker, we'll create a new company," which is Positive Ground. And that company now serves a bunch of speakers doing the stuff that speakers don't like doing. So my journey then started again. I've written a couple of books since then, Life After Death, which was the play on words, if you like. Running on Empty, I guess, is the book that people know. That's 37 different ways, whatever you do, don't make mistakes I made in business. And the profits go to Samaritans for that. And that's led me to the new book coming out in November, which is The Reputation Game. The funny thing, Andy, is this. I felt badly about the fact that things had gone wrong, and I didn't do the thing that I know you would always advocate, which is turn to your network, and I didn't. I did the British thing of stiff upper lip, and kept things pretty quiet, frankly. After a while, I realised that was a mistake. I did turn to my network, and life did start to move forward. And that's one of the things that I actually said in the Reputation Game, which is, turn to your friends, turn to your pals. Don't be British. Don't fight the urge, if you like. What's happened is that because I actually stand up and speak and share the fact that I had a challenge and all the rest of it, people tell me my reputation has actually gone up. Because I'm actually prepared to share of myself and share how things have moved on. So that's all gone very well, and during that time the other thing that went very well was that I was asked on the board of the PSA. As you know, I became president of the PSA in 2010, and since that time life has moved onwards and upwards, and positive grounds moving forward as well. So ups and downs, but we're definitely on the up, and life is much better.
And just for people who don't know, obviously PSA is Professional Speaking Association, which is how we first met, in fact through referral about the PSA many years ago, back in 2003. So now you're talking about reputation, and that's a key focus, and obviously there's a key lesson there that I think perhaps we damage our reputation in trying to protect it sometimes. So for people listening, whether they are running their own business and they're looking at their reputation when they're selling their product, or whether they're working in a larger organisation, what would be your 3 top tips for them in making sure their reputation is as strong as it can possibly be?
Well, the top tip, first of all, is to recognise the fact that we all say that reputation is paramount. We'd all say score of 1 low, 10 high, 10 for reputation, most important thing in business. But my question is, do you have a strategy for your business reputation? Do you actually work out? Do you have a matrix, which we do, just says, what is it that reputation really is? Measure it and put stuff into place. The second thing is that it's not just about your business, it's about you. And if you have a business with a bunch of people, and it's about the reputation of every single person. Warren Buffett said, 20 years to make a reputation, 5 minutes to break it. I argue that it's not that at all. It's just 140 characters. One tweet will destroy you. Ask any Premiership footballer. The tip is, create a strategy. The second one is implement the strategy, and the third one is obvious, which is measure the strategy, but specifically for reputation.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Peter, and good luck as the journey continues.
Thanks very much, Andy.
Peter and Leslie's new book, which is an excellent guide on managing your reputation, will be coming out later this year, and I will be sure to feature it and give it a mention. Now for a quick musical break with the wonderful Southgate and Leigh, a band that I first saw performing, or duet that I first saw performing at a friend's birthday party about 2 years ago, and then went on to support Joan Armour Trading on her British tour last year. Really quirky, interesting band, love their music, and this is perhaps one of my favourite songs of theirs, Rena.
But she
That was the excellent Southgate and Leigh with Rena, and their album Where We Are is available for download on iTunes now, and I highly recommend it. We started this edition of Connecting Is Not Enough, the networking radio show, with talk of New Year's resolutions. And if you're looking at your business resolutions for 2013, in networking there's one thing above anything else that most people could do better, and that's follow up. Whether following up on new contacts, old friends, or on promises made, you can make a huge impression and strengthen your network considerably simply by seeing things through. I've often commented on how amazed I am how poorly most people follow up on conversations and contacts with their network. Even people I trust implicitly and have the highest respect for can fall down in this area. A few weeks before Christmas, I promised a referral to someone very close to me. It was not the easiest referral for me to make, as it required me to ask for the connection from someone who's not very open to helping. But it made a lot of sense for both parties I wanted to introduce. I went ahead and I asked for the connection, and my contact reluctantly acceded, asking for some information they could pass on. I immediately emailed my friend and asked for a short email I could use to make the introduction, and I duly heard nothing back. Earlier this week, I chased my friend up for the information. He had received my email, but it had just sat there waiting to be dealt with. Unaware that I'd struggled to get the introduction, he hadn't prioritised the information. Perhaps it wasn't an important enough connection for him, in which case he shouldn't have requested the referral in the first place. More likely other things got in the way and it got stuck in his to-do list. It's easily done, particularly as he was unaware of the difficulty I had in asking for the introduction. But his lack of action reflects poorly on him and also on me with my contact. If someone offers you a referral in 2013, make sure you follow up. If it's not an introduction you want, communicate that clearly but politely, even often to pass it on to someone more appropriate. If it is one you want, make both yourself and your champion look good by responding in time. If you meet someone new in 2013 and want to build a relationship with them, follow up and arrange to see them again. You can't just rely on that first meeting to establish that long-term bond. And take a look at your contact book. Who didn't you see or speak to in 2012 with whom you should re-establish your relationship? Pick up the phone and arrange to meet up with them. New Year is traditionally a time for resolutions. Make it a happy one by following up. I hope you've enjoyed today's edition of Connecting Is Not Enough, and I look forward to seeing you again in 3 weeks' time.